They're shooting into a house, just to be clear. At that time, a total of 20 charged in this indictment as well.
下雪了啊！现在那个 DA 在这边会有一个新闻发布会。哇，这个雪，这个大晴天的，我们还看到蓝天，但是这个雪真的飘的。我们现在在看得到蓝天的情况下飘雪。看哪个角度比较能够看得到雪飘得很厉害。今天 DA 皇后区检察官召开新闻发布会，这边有一个街头帮派被打下，这个是被抓到的，这帮街头帮派，可以看得到。近一点看，就分别抓他们的弟弟。搜脚上的枪支。
I want to welcome all of you once again to the Queens District Attorney's Office in partnership with the NYPD and the work that we do here to keep our communities safe. I have with me up here today John Sennett, our Bureau Chief of VCE, Genevieve Gadaletta, who is an ADA on this case, and Kevin Timpone, also on this case, and I'm going to ask Assistant Chief Savino to introduce his folks when he speaks in a minute. I want to thank everyone for their outstanding work on the Gun Violence Suppression Division. We are here today to announce a 57-count indictment charging 11 defendants with conspiracy to commit murder, attempted assault, reckless endangerment, and the criminal possession of a weapon. They face anywhere from 3 years to 25 years to life individually. The crimes stem from 9 shooting incidents, which you will see mapped out on a press board to my left. There is a 10th incident that happened in Roy Wilkins Park. It is not charged in this indictment. These incidents occurred between March 29th, 2021 and December 31st, 2022. We allege that the main goal of this violence is a turf war. And the turf war is between the gangs that we'll talk about in a few minutes and others such as and the rival gangs, folk shooters. 5 of those shooters are being charged with multiple shootings in this indictment. 8 are being charged in this indictment. 2 of the other shooters are being charged in a parallel investigation and prosecution in other actions. As a result of these violent actions, there are 5 gun shooting victims, 1 of whom is paralyzed from the waist down. There are 5 defendants out of the 11 that we are arrested and hold accountable in this indictment. 5 of them were remanded on Tuesday. 3 of them were already in custody on other matters. 1 is currently hospitalized from a completely unrelated injury to this indictment. And 2 remain outstanding. We are hunting for them, and we will, rest assured, we will find them. On the table before you, you see 11 guns that were confiscated as part of this investigation. This is one of the really interesting parts of this investigation. 4 of these guns are community guns. 4 of these guns are community guns. These are a community's worst nightmare. These are guns that travel around a community, travel around a gang, and they're used at the time for whatever anyone deems necessary in that gang at the time. They're passed around, they're deadly weapons. They're taken out like they're library books, and they're used on the street to terrorize communities. The indictment is the culmination of 3.5 years. The first shooting was on March 29th. 22, that's when this investigation started. The indictment is the culmination of 3.5 years using comprehensive intelligence gathering, including victim injuries and ballistics, social media posts, recorded jail calls, and surveillance video footage, 2 of which you are about to see. You will see the extent of these shootings. You will see the extent of the terrorizing of the communities that people were enduring in these neighborhoods. And so I'd like to take a second and play the first video for you if we can. I'll give you a moment to turn the cameras. And 4 people have been identified as the shooters in that particular video. I'd like to show you one more video which is about this indictment as well, which is charged in this indictment as well. A total of 4 shell casings were recovered. 3 people were shot. 1 of them is paralyzed, of the victims. We allege that the motive of these violent acts were simply done as a turf war. It was a beef about turf. That's what all the shooting is about. It's a beef about turf. So according to the indictment, the defendants are members of 2 subsets of the infamous 8 Trey Movin Crips Street. We have a sign. Where is it? Over there? You'll see how the Crips have divided their gang. One subset of those Crips were a group called SOA, Score on Anything. It's led by Alfidi Tanis, also known as Havoc. The second subset of it is Whole Block Boys, and it's led by Trevor Bailey. The map further to my right depicts their approximate geographic turf boundaries. So their turf was in Hollis, and the other turf was in South Jamaica. The shootings, however, if you see the map of the shootings with the where's this map of the shootings? The map of the shootings identifies that most of these shootings, if not all of them, happened outside the area of their turf. It bled into the community, it bled into the neighborhoods, and it terrorized people. They were in Far Rockaway, Queens Village, St. Albans, and in Jamaica. And according to our investigation, the 2 gangs were working in tandem against other gang members. When you talk about drivers of crime, we're talking about cases like this one, where a small number of individuals are driving the criminal activity in our borough. The actions of these defendants imperiled lives of everyone in the neighborhood. It's why I created the Violent Criminal Enterprise Bureau, to make sure that we are spending our resources, our time, our efforts on long-term complex investigations, to make sure that we get those individual drivers of crime out of our community, and get them and get the neighbors safe. Accountable for this. Thank you, Assistant Chief Silvino.
Thank you. And thank you to our district attorney. We've stood here collectively many times for many takedowns, and we will again.
Thank you.
Thank you and your entire team so sincerely for your partnership. Our Queens deserves this, and our Queens needs this. And today, we're just so proud to announce that our beautiful Queens is quite a bit safer. With this takedown of violent gang members, the worst of the absolute worst, bad guys in all of Queens, but they really rival the worst of the worst in the entire city, are now in custody. Those that woke up every single day with one mission: to gain clout for the gang, to ignite violence for the gang. How did they do this? By shooting oppositions for the gang. This gang generated and actually encouraged fear by recklessly firing bullets and endangering our great public. Case in point, of those 11 subjects you mentioned earlier, 10 have allegedly fired a gun at least once. 5 have 2 or more times, and 4 of our subjects have allegedly fired a gun 3 or more times. Simply put, these subjects are shooting recidivists, those very few that have no issues placing the members of our community in harm's way. And we know historically, when we extract these shooters, the shooters of a gang, we see, consequently, a sharp reduction in violence. But this doesn't happen by luck. Celebrating neighborhood pride on the Queen's famous Bellow Day, that jovial mood quickly turning to tragedy, when the gang fired shots from the sunroof of a moving vehicle. Again, three of the victims were struck and one was ultimately left paralyzed. In sum, these bad guys showed zero regard for life and attempted to terrorize our neighborhoods. But today, we all stand here quite proudly and say, no more. Our Detective Bureau, along with our partners at the District Attorney's Office, will continue to address every gang in this city, every street in this city, and every trigger puller in this city. With all that being said, if you're a gangbanger, if you are the worst of the worst, if you endanger our communities, if you're one of those very few individuals that make life in our community dangerous, uncomfortable, and feel no remorse or regret about it, this is your opportunity. Change now. Don't fill in that void. Do the right thing. Do it for your family and do it for your community, but change now. Criminality will and does have consequence, and this is exactly what it looks like. Our community members deserve and are entitled to enjoy a life that is free from any fear of gunfire, and today we come that much closer towards our ultimate goal of eliminating gun violence. And with that, I'll pass it to the Commanding Officer of Gun Violence Suppression Division, Craig Edelman, who will just walk you through the semantics of the investigation.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. My name is Craig Edelman, I'm the Commanding Officer of the Gun Violence Suppression Division. I'd like to thank Assistant Chief Jason Savino and District Attorney Melinda Katz for being here today. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize the lead investigators, Joe Essig and John McHugh, along with all the supervisors, Sergeant Jeffrey Liu, Lieutenant Jonathan Zokia, and Captain Ryan Gillis. I'd also like to thank our partners in the Queens County DA's office, John Sedin, Barry Frankenstein, Geneva Gadaletta, and Kevin Tapone of the Queens Violent Crimes Enterprise Office. Without all their hard work and dedication, justice would not have been served.
Community guns that we have. This is the gun that was shot in the video. Have shootings on them, and you basically just take it and use it, and it's available. Thank you. My office and the NYPD, and of course John Sennett, our bureau chief, our executive Jerry Brave, who is here, and I wanted to make sure to just acknowledge him. Look, folks, these kinds of indictments and these kinds of investigations, they take a lot of work, and they take a lot of people that are on top of it. And we have 11 weapons here. Those are 11 weapons that will never kill anybody, that will never hurt anybody. Those are 11 weapons we take off the street, and 4 of them are weapons that would probably be used in several other crimes, but we know that they've been used in a few already. And so I thank the NYPD for its great work, and I thank you for sending a message out to those that will pick up a gun and shoot others and terrorize our communities here in the city of New York. We will not stand for it. We will you will get caught. We will indict you, and you will be held accountable for those injuries that you sustain on others and for carrying weapons in our city.